I've worked with almost 300 supplement brands now. I've built my own, and I see the same mistakes over and over. People launch with 5, 10, 15, 20 products. They burn all of their cash in inventory. They spread themselves too thin on marketing or end up stuck in a business that they generally can't scale because there's too many moving parts. But here's what actually works. One product, one customer, one problem. That's it. So today I'm going to show you the exact single product method that I used to go from 30k in debt to over 2.5 million. And if I had to start again from scratch today, this is exactly how I'd hit that 10k a month as fast as possible. So my question I'm posing to you is, why would you launch with a single product and not a range? Or why would you launch with a whole range of products and not a single hero product? I'm going to go through, I'm going to try and be as objective as possible in this video. I'm not going to be biased, but I'm going to tell you the truth because I have done both myself, and there is a very clear winner, particularly so if you are a solo founder. If this is your first business, if you're already running a brand and you're maybe a bit stuck, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know how to sell one product, never mind 10 different products, you've got multiple different types of customers because you don't actually know who you're selling to, you've got multiple different pain points that you don't understand how to get the right product in front of the right person at the right time, at the right medium, and generally it can become really stressful. And I'm going to essentially position to you the reason why is if you're just starting out, or even if you have a brand at the moment that you've just launched that you're trying to scale, that you should pick a single product and you should double down on this. Because, well, I'm going to give you many reasons, but basically if you're a solo founder, if it's just a team of one or two of you, if we think about a single product, the amount of angles, avatars, the sheer amount of creative volume that you need and different ways that you can market this product is technically infinite. From a creative perspective, from an angles perspective, from really kind of deep diving and getting into the consumer psychology. And again, in my experience, let's say I worked with a golf brand 2 or 3 years ago. We literally got this brand to £1 million in the first year. I'll pull a screenshot up somewhere if you want to see it, but generally in the first year. This was started in 2023, hit $1 million in 2024. But just so you know, I'm not making this up. When he came to me, I know it's not a supplement brand, it's a golf brand, but the principles generally across e-com are universal. We're still selling person to person. We're still selling direct to consumer. And what works for one generally works for others. And he had this whole range of clubs and sporadic sales, cost per acquisition was like crazy, like $200 or something, not sustainable, stressed, about to quit. And when I came in as the growth partner to run, manage, rebuild everything, one of the first things I did was help him to siphon everything down from 10 different products to one hero product in stack. And he was also a solo founder, so that changed everything for him. It's the same with my own brand. I started with a hero product and I scaled and then I diversified. So there's always a pathway to doing that, but it's just a different way of thinking. And I'm going to run through step by step, and I'm going to try and be as objective as possible, but I'm biased because I have experience with this. And just remember, like, we have a lot of constraints to apply to this as well, because I'm assuming this is not something you've done before, and you don't have an infinite marketing budget to put into ads, and you probably don't have much resource around you to hire out a lot of the work that needs to be done. So let's get into it. Again, I just used a couple examples of hero product brands on the left, say Huel, Primal Queen, AG1, Space Goods. These are like their main products, or at least they launched with a single product. I think AG1 are on target do something like 600 million this year, which is crazy, selling one product. Okay, and then you've got the giants. Again, I've just got My Protein here, or Optimum Nutrition, which have a range, and they're known for a range. But the key differences here is one is more omnichannel retail focused, where the others are primarily direct to consumer brands. Now let's start with the range to start with, and I'll run through these step by step, one by one. So first and foremost, I kind of just touched on it, but your budget. MOQs stands for minimum order quantities. So instead of having to just buy, if you are committing cash to inventory, this is, and you're not going down the branded dropshipping route, your minimum order quantities on one product, let's say they want you to order 1,000 of each. If you then times that by 5 or 10 other products, that's 5 to 10,000 products that you have cash locked up in inventory that sits technically as a liability, although technically it's an asset on your balance sheet until it's sold. So you have all of this cash stuck in product. And if you're just starting out, safe to assume that you don't actually know how to sell this stuff yet. This is your first brand, maybe your second, third brand, but you haven't actually figured out the secret sauce to getting this product in front of the right people and marketing, which means you have an overinflated balance sheet, which is costing you money because it's stored money, and then you have to store it, and you have to think about warehousing. It costs you to warehouse, etc. So not a good place to be. Second one is your operation expenses and advertising. If we think about selling one product to one person with one problem, kind of touched on it before, but you have an infinite amount of options. And if you have to 10x that because you've got 10 different products solving 10 different problems for 10 to 20 different people, the complexity is crazy and it's just not possible. Can you do it and pull it off? Absolutely. But there's a sequence and there's a way to do it, which I'll teach you later in the video. So make sure you stick around till the end, because this is where I'm going to drop the source. For now, I'm just trying to stay kind of third party as objective as possible. So OPEX, I mean your operation expenses. So again, you're going to have a hyperinflated balance sheet because you've got all of this stock, you've got all this warehousing to do, all the supply chain logistics and potential problems that can go wrong, or labeling legislation, or you've got loads of different types of customers. So it becomes a headache really quick. And really, scaling across multiple SKUs, it does require significant investment upfront to start with. Second one, quality. Would you rather go with one hero product, which has had a lot of thought put into it, it's very well made, or would you rather launch with a stack of widely available mass market supplements? And let me use this example. We can use these if we want because we're on them. So something like Optimum Nutrition, obviously huge global brand, owned by Glanbia, I think, bought out years ago. But these guys are selling largely generic supplements. So whey protein, creatine, pre-workout, and they're selling it en masse, okay? Versus someone like Primal Queen, okay? It's completely different. They are just focusing on one specific product, selling to one person, solving one problem, okay? Now, this is... Just think about the research and design or development that's going in just to selling a generic product like a protein shake to anyone, okay? You're lost in a red ocean of competitors. How on earth are you going to create a strategic point of differentiation to actually convince someone to buy from you when you've got these brands with legacy and tenure that are printing cash, that already have the brand trust and recognition, versus you putting this time and effort into selling or positioning a product that you've put time, effort, energy, resource into solving, into putting together. It's custom. Now you have an instant strategic point of differentiation. You're not competing with anyone. Again, you can see there's a clear differentiation between both of them. Next one, time. There's only one of you, or maybe there's two of you. If you have a business partner, maybe your business partner isn't as skilled, or maybe you have different complementary skill sets. You don't have enough hours in the day to be able to pick apart and sell every single one of these products in this range. Whereas if you have that time and attention focused on one very good hero product directed to one specific type of person with a very high pain point, this is such a better and more efficient use of your time. Next one, infrastructure. So by infrastructure here, we've kind of already discussed the supply chain, like warehousing and stuff for here. I'm talking about your front end or your website, basically. Okay, technically call it back end. But you're going to have multiple product pages. You're going to have multiple landing pages. You're going to have this whole kind of fully integrated e-com store selling all of these different products with no real strategic point of differentiation, other than maybe you've just slapped your own logo on existing products. So no one's gonna buy it. So the time, the effort, the sacrifice to build all of this, again, your funnels, your landing pages, your email marketing. Think about the amount of different funnels or welcome series, or all of your explaining about the product, what it does, how it works, who it's for. All of this, when you have all these different SKUs, your email campaigns or email automations become sporadic. It's very hard to funnel them because it comes back to that overall marketing principle of if everyone is your customer, then no one is your customer. So again, just think about the logistics around this. Next one, supply chain. Again, we kind of touched on it already, but just think about storage. You've got all these SKUs. Each one's probably going to have a different shelf life, which gets confusing really quickly. You've got to think about fulfillment again and warehouse space, and just the cost and the overhead and the operational complexity. Each one of these products in this stack, for example, I'm just going to focus on these guys, will have, maybe they're not manufactured at the same time, so they have different expiry dates, because remember, with supplements, we are selling a consumable, and of course product quality as well. Very hard for you to be able to monitor and manage as the CEO, because you've just got too much going on. Now, the specificity side of things is important, because if we're selling everything to anyone, then it means everyone's our customer. And we've touched on this already, but if we don't, and I'm assuming you don't, if you're watching this video, have an infinite marketing budget, it's very hard for you to be able to strategically position this product or these range of products, because that is customers generally just going to be drawn to the mass market. It's very hard. Okay. So if you can instead solve one main problem or multiple small ones, surely you would rather focus on solving the one highest pain point again, which kind of benefits the hero product. Marketing, huge. As I said, we don't have an infinite marketing budget. I don't have an infinite marketing budget. No one has an infinite marketing budget. And the bandwidth, again, you need teams, you need good solid infrastructure to be able to sell and position ranges. You have an infinite, almost too many angles, because you're selling all these different products. And really, you don't have the strategic point of differentiation between you and all of these other brands out there selling probably exactly the same product, again, just with a different logo on it. They're going to win every single time because they're already in this know, like, and trust phase. Customers already trust them. They're in retailers. They've got 10, 20 years of experience. They've got all the infrastructure behind them. It just doesn't make sense for a consumer to buy specifically from you unless you give them a reason. And this is the hard thing for you to do. And this is why a lot of people say supplement brands aren't good to start, because it's an already saturated market. And I want to flip this on its head, where instead of you selling the same thing to everyone else and targeting the same customers as the big brands, they're going to win every day. Whereas if you flip that and you focus on building a very good product, or even white labeling, or even drop shipping, it doesn't matter. It's all about the angle. It's all about your positioning. It's all about the problem that you're solving using technically an already existing product. And I'll show you how to do that later on in the video. Content, you're going to be spread too thin. If we think about selling a single product, let's just use like Matt Kelly's Space Goods, for example. I think, again, diversified now, but launched with a single hero product. And I'll show you how to do that later on in the video. But from a marketing perspective, we're solving one key problem, or we're positioning this product as new, as novel, as interesting, and you have a million different ways to market this product. Angles, UGC, creatives, copywriting, pain points, there's so many. So if you times that by another 10 products and there's only one of you doing it, you're going to run into trouble. You're going to run out of gas really quickly. So again, it's not fun to do. And then, of course, the most important thing is you knowing more about your customers than they know about themselves. So if, again, we've got the stack, it's broad, it's diverse, it's very hard to market to at scale, because you're going to burn all of your ad budget trying to sell one product. And maybe that's not the product that's going to take off. Maybe it's one of your other ones, your ancillary products. So long story short, it's hard. Okay, now I'm going to flip it on its head. Let's assume now we're selling, or we're positioning a hero product. And by hero product, again, I'm using an example of these. In the early days, Primal Queen, I think, still have one product. Maybe they've just released a new one recently. But for the last year or two since launch, it's been the one product. And I'm going to flip this on its head. I'm going to show you why this is actually the best way to go if you don't have an infinite amount of budget and if you don't have much experience in selling or marketing or building supplement brands. So hero products, great for low budget, first-time entrepreneurs, because you only need to be right once. The more thought and effort into a project, obviously, the better likelihood of success, because where attention goes, energy flows and results show. Second one, clear content schedule, because we're talking to one specific pain point, a problem, and customer. So instead of an infinite amount of marketing angles from all the different products, we just pick the one. We center and focus, laser focus on this one product, on this one problem, on this one customer. So we can have directed attention. And this really is where the compounding comes in. This is when you're going to start to see good results. And of course, next one, you're not battling for eyeballs, because we have created a strategic point of differentiation around an existing product, and we're narrowing in, which means we are proactively disqualifying 99.9% of people who are not our audience. And by doing that, because we build a strategic point of differentiation around the problem that we're solving and the way that we're positioning this product, you're in a blue ocean all of a sudden. You're new, you're novel, you're unique, okay? And we don't need to reinvent the wheel to do this. Next one is a single point of focus, time, energy. Again, it's very efficient for you in terms of your ad spend and in terms of your time allocation, if this is your first time starting out in this. Now, the negatives to this, again, I'm trying to be balanced. I'm trying. Product fatigue. For example, you only have one product, customer buys it once, buys it again, buys it 3 times, and then they're like, I'm bored of this, I want something new. And this is where we would position, instead of just having the one hero product, we have established product market fit. We know we can sell it, customers are using it, they're coming back, they're buying more. We have LTV baked in. Now, this is the point to diversify. We don't start with a range. We start by solving a single problem for a single customer with a single product via a single channel. We validate it, and then we talk to our customers and we let them tell us what they want. Do they want a different flavor? Or maybe say they're struggling with sleep and now they want something that helps them through the day. But my point is, the market is dictating your direction, not you. This is so important. And this is what I've done with my own brand. I launched with a single hero product. I listened to customers. What isn't this problem solving? How could we make it better? Is it ingredients? Is it flavor? Is it solving different problems within the same demographic of niche? We take all that information, we validate it first, and then we start making it. Again, we're making data-driven decisions that is dictated to by the market, and we are not using founder-led assumption. Most dangerous phrase in entrepreneurship, in my opinion, and in my experience. Next one, the other negative to selling hero product is that you have limited cost options and value proposition, because we only have a single product to sell, which means we can't then sell a shaker, or we don't have any kind of average order value boosters initially, because we just have the one product. Okay, we don't have a range. Now, the way to get around this, because obviously the only thing we can do is sell more of the same product, right? We can like build a bundle, and this is what I recommend you do. So we sell bundles and we bake in a subscription option. Okay, so we're not ever in an ideal world selling this one product one time to one customer. We have to increase the perceived value and the actual value of the product, and think about, people want to ensure that they're getting fair exchange for their money. Obviously the product works, and if they do, they'll come back, they'll either buy it again. And to reduce friction, we can push them into a subscription, or we can sell bundles, and bundles can just be more of the same. Again, we can give them a cost advantage on this, which means we are shifting more product at the same time for exactly the same ad cost, and then ideally we have them on a subscription on the back end. Okay, if we have this and we're done, we have established product market fit, then other options are we can either build in like digital guides, or we can accessories like shakers, for example, just to add some diversity, and also to increase the value proposition on the front end again. But to start with, we have to be focusing on establishing product market fit. This is the key to hero product ranges. Now, bringing this all together, you do not need to be all things to all people. The principle, I said it before, if everyone is your customer, no one's your customer. And what I generally want you to do, and again, this is what I've done multiple times, is instead of going too big too fast, start small and then scale. Okay, especially if you're doing this on your own or one or two man team. Nail it, then scale it. This is the principles. And remember that large ranges, they can work if, capital if, they're funded or well funded with an experienced team. But if you're starting out, this is my recommendation. As I said, I'm trying to be as objective as possible with this, but the bias is coming through. Okay, so here's your pathway. Launch with one clear problem, customer, product, channel, and offer. So the problem, deep dive on your customer. You need to know everything about them. You need to be able to finish their sentence. You need to know what they're having for dinner on the evening. You need to know their dog's name, everything, okay? And the pain point that the problem or the pain point that the customer has, it must be high. And the reason for that is just typical marketing. We're paid in direct proportion to the level of the pain point or problem that we solve, and just remembering that. And then we can create brand and narrative that really kind of digs into this, agitates the problem, and then we own this niche. And then we find differentiation through different formats, flavors. We can broaden the niche. We can run founder-led brands. So again, we have a strategic point of differentiation, but it's all centered around the problem, because the product largely is going to be the same. If you want an example of that, use my own brand, where we're selling what is technically a broad, it has multiple applications, but we've niched down into nutrition, sports nutrition, nutrition for kids, nutrition with kids who have fuzzy eating habits, or selective eating. Okay, so we've kind of niched down 3 or 4 times. And this is how we do it. And now we own that niche. No one else is doing it. Okay, so you take a broad product, you niche it down, you focus on solving that one high pain point, and then you develop narrative to be able to agitate that and come at that from different angles. And again, links to the customer second point is just not being all things to all people. Have one clear archetype that you know more about than they know about themselves. We have one clear product to launch with, one channel, focus on Meta, maybe focus on Google, depends on your demographic range, and then one very clear offer that pushes to bundles, subscribe and save, and ideally the multi-pack sales. Okay, this is key, just to make sure that unit economics make sense once we build in cost per acquisition. So the happy medium, there's always a happy medium between both, is you can launch using multiple related products, sell it as a bundle stack, and then test with branded dropshipping. And use Supplyful, for example. So we could have like a gut health bundle, which would feature 2 or 3 products that are all used together as a stack in tandem. And with companies like Supplyful, very low barrier to entry. You don't have to commit cash to inventory, which means your risk is very low, and you only buy the product once you've sold it. Again, you just need to build the infrastructure on the back end and work on understanding the customer and building narrative and brand around that. That's the easy way, okay? So now, instead of us having all of these ranges, we just solve it we're still tackling one problem, but we're just, by understanding the customer, we can sell multiple ones within the same one, and then we can build in value proposition for your lead magnet to get people in. For example, you can have a free X, Y, and Z product, or we sell it as a stack, and this solves multiple problems because we have AOV on the front end, we have LTV on the back end, and ideally we're selling a bundle and stack, which means the unit economics work really well. If you are wanting to launch a range, and if you're going solo, you have no experience and no budget, the principle is just copy what I did. Copy what I did with the golf brand. Validate with one product, So hit establish product market fit. So push from 5 to 10K a month, validated, and then we can diversify, but we're diversifying according to what the market wants, not what we think the market wants. And that's so important. If you want to see my progression, I've kind of mapped it out here. So this is my hero product. Okay. First 100K with one product. Listen to the market. Again, everything points to customer feedback here. Is what else are they consuming? What is the current product, or where does the current product fall short? What else do they need? So for example, for me, this is a hero product for the first few years, and then customers were saying it's good for after, but I need something for before sport because you don't want this kind of lying on your stomach. So then we released energy bars, and then for those who couldn't have the shakes, whatever, they don't like the taste of them, we got the core we got the core benefits, and we positioned it into gummies. Then we heard that customers weren't happy because they're not eating the fruit and veg, so then we developed the super greens, and then the one I'm developing at the moment, and then the one and then the one we're developing at the minute is electrolytes, again for intrasport. But what my point here is just it's all validated by the customer. So you start with one, and then you diversify over time, and now before you know it, you have your stack. You have this kind of multiple product range. The principle is always validate first and then sell. So yeah, that's it for this video. If you need help to start and scale your supplement brand, link will be in the description if you want to discuss your project, or just watch videos. I'm sure there'll be one linked here or here. If you genuinely want to start your own supplement brand, there'll be a video here which walks it through, again, using Supplefull, branded dropshipping, no cash down. I'm literally teaching you step by step, so make sure you click and watch this next. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Oh, and any questions, if you don't agree with me, stick them in the comments. Ciao.